Hi folks, it's Rob Wood from Stalking, and I just wanted to show you our new Lightroom Toolkit, the Landscape Magic Lightroom Toolkit. What we have here is a set of presets, profiles, brushes, and a couple of overlays that would really be useful for a lot of people who are trying to save a bit of time and get a few ideas for their post-production. Now, I'm starting here with a raw file from quite a while ago. That I shot at a place called Bear Island in Sydney. Now, first thing I do with this is obviously fix up the white balance, which isn't too far off, but it's probably slightly there. So, yeah, I'd still bring it down a little bit to around there. So, like any raw file, it's not too bad, but it can be improved. The first option you will probably want to go to are the presets. Now, for this particular one, there's a preset called the Fujifilm preset, which you should mostly be familiar with if you've been around photography for a while. And straight up, that gives it a bit more pop. Not a bad result, but there are other things we can do. So I'll reset it. And one thing we can do is we also have a couple of overlays. Now, you might be wondering what overlays are in the context of Lightroom. They're basically gradient filters applied to the entire image. I'll give you an example. We have an overlay called the Saturate Plus, which straight away gives you saturation. So before, after, and probably the benefit of working with overlays is you still have all of your adjustments that you can make independently. So you can bring the exposure up or down independent of the overlay that you've just applied. And as well as, texture or whatever else you want to do with the image. So they can be quite useful for a lot of people depending on your workflow. Now, probably what I regard as the most useful part of the workflow are the profiles. So all of the presets are actually also replicated as profiles. Now, I'll show you what that means. If you go to Browse here, we search for that Fuji, where is it? Down, down, down. Fujifilm. And there you go. It's basically the same as the preset, but the beauty of using it as a profile is you have this slider up the top here, which basically works as a strength slider. Now, that particular preset, I don't mind, but I think it's a bit too strong. So I'd probably bring that round down to about 50 or 60 maybe. So at half strength, I think it looks a bit better, and that's the beauty of working with profiles. Now, to finish this particular image off, I'd probably go onto our brushes. Now, we also have a bunch of brushes in this toolkit, so I will show you a few of them. Straight up, the first thing I had noticed about this image is that the shadows on the rocks on the far right and the far left are a little bit deep for my particular taste. So we have a brush here. Whoop. We have a brush here called Shadow Details, and we can just use that. We'll set the flow to about, to show you what it does, I'll set it to 100%. So this is 100% of what it does. As you can see, it just brings out the shadows in those areas of the shot that you want. If you want to know where you're painting, you can always press the O key and it'll show you where that brush has been applied. If you want to be a little bit more subtle about it, you set the flow. I usually set the flow down around 30, so I need to brush over an area a couple of times to get that same effect, because it's like coloring in. And you can bring it up to where you want it, and around there, and just press the O key to see where you're doing things. And I think we're probably going to have a decent result there. So before and after, you can see that's just brought those shadows out, made the foreground pop a little bit more. One more thing I might do, there's a great brush called Dramatic Skies that is exactly what I had in mind for this particular photo when I saw it. So we'll try that and I'll show you, where are we? Dramatic Skies ++. I'll set the flow to about 33, 34 and just pull that over these particular clouds and up here, because these clouds were pretty spectacular on the day. And that's not a bad result either. So I've just painted over that area. Make sure we get the parts we want. Turn that off. And before and after. So as you can see, this set has basically given this image a little bit more pop. I'd finish off with a slight adjustment on the exposure, bring it up about, well, not quite that far, about 5, and of course straighten up that horizon, because I'm sure that's bugging some people, as it does me. And I would usually cut out a bit of that sky, and that would be the end result. I'd probably do a bit more work on that crop, because that rock on the right side bothers me, and if that also goes, then I'd probably need to cut out some of the left side, because this peninsula makes the image look a little bit lopsided. But after that, I think that's not a bad result. So before and after. Anyway, if this interests you, then take a look at the pack and let us know what you think. Thanks, folks.